Hey, good morning, grade 9s. Welcome to your next video. So today we're going to deal with specifically monologues. So you would have noticed in your assignment that I asked you to write a monologue and to perform the monologue. So a monologue is really the most exciting performance style for me personally. I love doing monologues. It's such an expressive form of performance, and you can really go way out. There's not a lot of rules, not a lot of regulations. You can really just express yourself and go crazy on stage and be anyone that you want to be. Okay, so monologue is a theater term that comprises of two parts. So I always tell you guys, if you don't know what a word means, then divide it into its root words. Sorry about that. Okay, so if we divide monologue into the root words, we get mono, and mono we know is one. You would know in science, whenever you do something that starts with mono, it means one part of something. So alone, solitary, one part. And then logo comes from the Greek word logos meaning speech. So it's a speech that you do alone. Okay, so it's really a little performance that you do on your own. So now you might ask, okay, but what is the difference between a monologue and a prose that we dealt with last week? So a prose has different characters in. So there's more than one character, and there's a storyteller telling a story. A monologue does not have someone telling a story. It is your own thoughts that you share. Sometimes a monologue is a long piece of dialogue that follows on something else. So, example, a person would argue, "What did you do today?" So your whole response on your day's happenings is the monologue. Sharing your thoughts, sharing your experiences. Sometimes a monologue is a person talking to themselves. So when you're at home and you have nothing to do and you just start talking to yourself, telling yourself how you feel, or just letting out your feelings, speaking to your reflection in the mirror, that's also a monologue. But it is the direct words of the person speaking. So there's no other characters involved, there's no storyteller, it's just you speaking your mind. Okay, so there's monologues can be found across various dramatic media. For example, in plays there are monologues, film there's monologues, some poetry even there is monologues, depending on the source. Okay, so what I basically want to go through today is even though this says choose a monologue, so it's basically 9 things to look at when you choose a monologue, it can also be related into how you write a monologue. So what is the best qualities to look for when you write a monologue? So the first one says, select an entertaining one. No one in the industry wants to watch an actor working really hard to impress them with their acting, especially if the piece is boring or mediocre. Choose a monologue you love doing, so we will love watching you. Okay, so basically selecting an entertaining one. So you must write an entertaining monologue. There must be a beginning, a middle, and an end. It must definitely have a climax to it, something interesting that happens in the monologue that we might not have expected to see. Second one says, find one that fits like a glove so we believe you. Okay, so this basically relates to you must write a monologue that suits you, that highlights your ability, your acting abilities, and your strengths. For example, if you are very good at doing an American accent, Go for that monologue that asks for an American accent. Write your monologue in a way that you can use the American accent. If you are very melodramatic and you're very good at over dramatizing something, then write a monologue where you over dramatize something. If you are very good at doing sad things, at making people cry, at making them feel vulnerable, then write a monologue that is sad, that is more intimate. Also, look at the age that you are in the monologue. If you're very good at playing a little child, very spontaneous and enthusiastic, then write a monologue that highlights that childishness. If you are more comfortable in being more mature or older, then do that. If you are very good at playing a granny, then write your monologue as a granny, but be specific. Play to your strengths. That's what's so nice about a monologue, is you can choose one or write one that is specifically suited for you, that highlights what you can do. You don't have to have different characters like the prose where you have to be good at 4 different types of characters. You need to stretch yourself out. You can actually just do one character, and that character you can do very well. Okay, so it says a monologue should show who you are, not add layers of dialect, character traits, a limp, or something outrageous to impress. If they can't tell you're acting, that's good acting. Okay, so if you choose a monologue or write a monologue that is closely related to yourself, then this won't ever be a problem. But if you write something that is so far from the person that you are, then it seems like you are acting, because then you have to put on a persona of someone that you are playing. Whereas if you just play something closer to home, you already know the experiences of your character and it's easier to then portray it. Third one, choose one that is serio-comedic, not just comedic or dramatic. Okay, so when you write, it's always good to incorporate both comedy and tragedy in your writing. It's sometimes a little bit boring to listen to a pure comic piece if it's not done properly, because it's a little bit over dramatic. It can get a little bit slapstick and it can seem like you are acting. The same with a dramatic one. A full dramatic monologue can sometimes get so boring that you don't even feel the emotion in the end. But if you combine the two, it's almost like you make the audience laugh, then you make them feel guilty for laughing by giving them something serious and a more dramatic approach to the monologue. And that's a very rare talent, to get that balance between the comic and the dramatic. But if you can do that, definitely that's a route to take. It makes it very interesting and gives your monologue a little bit of depth. Okay, work on one that has an arc or a storyline. So that's what I said in the beginning. Make sure that your monologue has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A climax, something that you can build up to, something that makes it interesting. Sometimes monologues are so monotoned and you perform it, and then in the end you're like, okay, but I actually wanted a little bit more. I wanted to see more. We must know when the monologue ends, because it must have a little bit of a decline. It must have a tragic or dramatic middle that sets that climax for the monologue itself. So be very careful of not being boring. A monologue is all about entertaining, because in a monologue as well, you can wear costume. You can put on a character, you can use props, you can use anything. It's like a mini performance, a mini theater performance that you do on your own. So you can go way out. There's very little limitations to doing a monologue. So it's not difficult to make it interesting, but you must just write it in an interesting way, because for the exam, or for the assessment, you are obviously going to write a monologue and then perform it. Keep it short. Okay, so really don't have a lengthy thing that takes hours to get to its point. Short and sweet is literally keywords in entertainment as a whole. Within the first 10 seconds of you performing to someone, they can already see if you can perform or not. The rest is just to see, can you sustain a character? Can you sustain the audience? Can you reach that climax and so on? But really, it doesn't take long for someone to even mark you on a performance, because the first few lines that you say already lost that impression. So, they always say first impressions last. So this is literally like the first two lines last. If you start a performance very well, you are more than likely going to end it well. Yes, there is a form of sustainability, so you can start off well and then get boring towards the end. That can happen, then you lose marks. But that's why I say don't make it too lengthy. Don't make the monologue too long, because then it gets a little bit boring as well. Find one with an element of surprise. So once again, that comes back to climax. Have a very good climax. A climax of any performance is what makes or breaks it. It's that wow moment, that moment where you go, oh my word. You want your audience to say that. I have uploaded 3 monologues on Google Classroom for you, where people have performed different monologues. Go and look at that. See which ones work for you and critique those people to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes as them. See if there's a climax. See if you can see the build-up of their character, the change of their character. Do they sustain the character throughout, and also get an idea of the form in which you do a monologue. Choose one that is not full of foul language or rude sexual innuendos. Okay, so this is very important, guys. I don't know, this is something that is quite profound in South Africa, and I don't know why, but people tend to want to swear or use rude language or sexual innuendos just to make their piece interesting. This is definitely not a gimmick that works. It really makes it a little bit distasteful, and then you focus on the rude language and the innuendos more than you do on the actor. So stay away from that. Don't use rude language. It really distracts from the piece itself. Rather go with pure formal language than doing that. Okay, so this one says, discover one that shows that you're a winner. When you leave the room, what will they think of you? So you must leave a lasting impression with the audience. That's why I say focus on the things that you know you are good at. Really go for that piece that brings out your talents as a performer. All of us, no matter if you are dramatically inclined or not, you have a very special talent when performing. And now use that talent. If it is to sing, use it. Incorporate a song in there. If it is to use an accent, use that accent. Show off that accent. If it is to dance, maybe you're a very good dancer. Incorporate dance into your monologue. If it is to be over dramatic, incorporate that in your monologue. If it is to use the stage in a specific way, maybe you have an amazing limp that you can show, use that. You really have free range with the monologue, so go way out and really give it your all. Avoid a recognizable one that did really well, that a star did really well. Okay, so in this I want to tell you, stay away from the normal storyline. Don't use the normal boring storyline that everybody's going to use. Think of something different. Think of something unique. Go for something that nobody else will do, and really do that well. Because if you're going to do the normal thing, I am going to compare you with another person who did a similar one, and you don't want to be compared. You want to be compared to yourself. So that unique monologue that you can really show your talents and your strengths. Okay, so guys, I want you to go and look at those monologues that I've already uploaded on Google Classroom as well, and go and see the format of it. Go and see what works and what doesn't work. Write your own monologue. If you want me to check the monologue, I will be more than happy to do it. So what you can do then is you take a video of yourself performing the monologue, send it to me, and I will give you tips on that for the time being until we get back to class. So there's been a lot of questions on should you do the assignment or not. You can definitely start the assignment. You can actually complete it with the knowledge that you've gained in the videos that I've put up so far. So yes, you can complete the assignment and then send it to me so that I can give you feedback for now. Thank you very much, guys. I'll chat to you. I think it's on Thursday, tomorrow, where we will chat a little bit on the meeting site just to get to know each other and to just sort out all the mishaps and miscommunication that has been happening up until now. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your day.